Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are joined once again by Dr. Lenny Rosenblum. Excited to have him here from New York City. Again, he owns UnionSquareSpinalCare.com. That's the website. Also, he does more than just chiropractic work. He really helps treat people holistically, spelled WHOLIST. Yes, I know how you wrote it. It's so cute that it's not just holistic with an H, but it's the whole person, the whole body, mind, and soul.
Exactly. I'm not trying to make it religious.
Thank you so much. Dr. Lenny, please introduce yourself to everyone. I know you're here in the New York area, and you clearly have a lot of knowledge with what you do.
Thank you. Yes. So I've been a chiropractor and licensed since 1987. So I think I'm getting some of it right now. And but there's a reason we call this a practice and why we call the people that come in patients, because they're patiently waiting for me to get it right. I think I get it right.
I think you do.
Thanks. So I really was thinking about how to present some of the benefits of chiropractic care to people that only think about it as something for pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that's what insurance reimburses for. However, it was discovered on a deaf person. And over the years, we've discovered more and more about how deeply acting chiropractic care is on the entire spine and nervous system.
Yep.
And one of the things that I'm often brought to my attention, especially with the stressful times that we're living in, is how we react to stress and how that involves our spinal system.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't take a genius of acting to tell you that if somebody shows up like this in your life, they're not very happy. And if somebody's open and feeling like that, the body language is clear.
Mm-hmm. Aw, hello, kitty.
Right. Oh, yeah. Everyone comes for the cats, I think, for more than me. Anyway, what this brings me to is that how our posture presents to the world is a lot of how we perceive the world and also how the world perceives us.
Yeah.
So it becomes a self-reinforcing thing that when look like we're weighted down by the weight of the world, we become even more of a victim.
Yeah.
And the thing about victims is that the more of a victim you become, the more sensitive you become, and almost everything starts to trigger you. The classic case is, the hardcore PTSD cases. I'm not going to say that I'm working on that specifically, but it's part of a continuum.
Yeah.
And when somebody is feeling good, they start to take their feeling good cues from even further away. So the difference between a victim and a victor is that the more that you're a victim, the more everything triggers you. And the more that you're in that winner state of mind, the more everything reinforces that state of mind. So how does that translate to how we hold ourselves in the world? So the brain and spinal cord are one continuous cell. So the thing that makes your foot move starts on the top of your head and goes all the way down to your spine, where it meets the second nerve that goes all the way down the leg. So even though nerve cells are really tiny, you could put 25,000 of them on the head of a pin, okay? Nerve cells can be several feet long.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any tension on that, it starts to change the chemistry of the brain itself.
Got it.
So the more that we have tension on this brain, the more that we start to get more of this fight or flight kind of physiology, the way that we start to when you go through a red light and you see a cop car behind you, suddenly you're
is that adrenaline? What is that called? That's the panic buttons.
That's the panic button, right.
So
when that happens, that's when our body starts to go through this whole cascade of getting ready for fight or flight. But when we become stuck like that, now that's the reality we're living in. And it also shows up in our body. So I'd love to talk about how the more we get into this fight or flight kind of posture that I was describing before, I have this visual, I'm going to describe it in words, but we talk about the 42-pound head. Does the head become heavier? No. The more that a person's head moves forward of their shoulders, something we call now text neck or computer neck, something like this, the more we're starting to create that physiology, that signaling that the world is not safe.
Yeah.
And when we release that tension, we start to see the world in a much nicer place. This is what I always trot out to people who've never seen a chiropractor before. This is my 92-year-old osteoporotic.
Oh my gosh.
And the only thing that I found with her on that day, and you can describe how far forward her head is from her shoulders, right, Jill?
Wow.
Yeah, each one of those boxes are 3 inches.
Okay.
Right? I mean, her head's in a whole area code ahead of her body.
Yes.
And the only thing that I discovered on her that day was there's tension on the posterior of her spine. I put her back into the correct position. And after 8 years of neck pain, she was ready to dance out of here.
That was one session?
That was one session. Does it stay this way? Not necessarily, because it's,
Yeah.
I call them meninges, has different layers, and some of them are elastic in their nature. So whatever steps we take are 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but she never went back to that horrible position.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. She looked like she couldn't walk. She looked like she must have been in so much pain.
She was, yeah.
Wow.
So, and this is osteoporotic, 92 years old. So I have patients in their 90s that come in here, no problem. And even though the work is fairly structural. What is it, Kitty? I'm sorry.
No, what's his or her name again?
This is Scooter.
Hi, Scooter. I remember you. Just forgot your name. Yeah. Adorable, loves daddy and wants to be a part of the show. Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, so precious.
I'm lucky.
I don't know if I told you, I lost mine just 3 weeks ago. He was 14. I have a 5 and 7-year-old. We were heartbroken. I've had him for 14 years, but we were at least together when he passed, all of us. So I think that was kind of nice, even though we were hysterical. But so actually, just reminded me, my cat, I had her cremated, and I got to go pick her up on Long Island still. But love cats. They're my favorite little animals ever.
Well, here where I'm at, there are 3 restaurants in the building. So if you don't have cats, you have other visitors.
Exactly. Yes, they are good.
And then if somebody tells me they have cat allergy, I actually have a treatment for that. So it leads to more sales.
Ooh, awesome. Want to hear about that too, but I don't want to, you're on a roll here. Tell me about these alignment issues and stress and distress. I know we're talking about that today too.
And that's the important thing that we need to distinguish. We all will run away from stress, but stress can be our friend. You know, the reason we go to the gym is to stress our muscles because it responds. As a matter of fact, if there's no stress whatsoever, we start to lose bone and muscle density very quickly, especially as we get older. So I'm 69 years old, and I have to pick up body weight at least in order to be vital and work on patients that are 250 pounds themselves.
Wow, yeah.
So it's part of daily life. Is our stress can be our friend. It's when it becomes distress that we're picking up more than we can handle that we start to get stuck, and that's where we have to try to heal things. So that's a lot of what my work is about, helping people have like a reset of their nervous system.
Okay.
Some of the techniques that I do, the person's lying down on the table for like 5 minutes, and when they're done, they feel like they had a 2-hour nap. Because the body has been able to like drop down so much tension that's been holding. So yes, your back feels better, but more important, you feel better, and how you show up in the world is greatly improved.
Wow.
That's really what the beauty of this work is. And that's why I have people who've been seeing me on and off since 1981 when I moved to New York.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's a very joyful way to live for me and for them as well, I suppose, because they keep coming in.
No, absolutely is. My goodness. And let's just remind everyone how we can reach out to you, please.
Thank you. So I'm at unionsquarespinalcare.com, all one word. And then my phone number, because I also use the phone, is 1-2-254-4586. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So more about the stress, more about the, there's and distress.
Right. So when we talk about stress, we also talk about how the body's chemistry works. And so our brain is constantly secreting these things we call neurotransmitters, how one nerve talks to another. And there's a lot of chemicals that our brain produces that are also found in the digestive system. So when we're feeling good, our digestive system is feeling good. And if we get upset, it can actually trigger the other way as well. So this is a two-way street that we always want to intervene where it's easier. It's always easier to get adjusted than get your whole digestive tract calmed down. So we attack these things on all levels. And so there's that. And the other thing is that the immune system is triggered also by the digestive tract. So, and we also, there's a great study. Oh, it just reminded me. It's one of my teachers in chiropractic school. He published this study about where they did research where they put an infectious bacteria on the ear of a rabbit. It was a lab rat. We don't like using these things anymore, but this is back in the 70s. And sure enough, the body produced antibodies. Well, they cut off blood circulation and just left the nerve intact, and apparently the body still produced the appropriate antibody. So the nervous system is very much integrated with how the whole immune system works and coordinates the immune system. So the digestion, the posture, the consciousness all feed back into what our body goes to when we're not thinking about it, our posture. Because remember, you can try to force your posture in a perfect straight line, but as soon as you stop thinking about it, it goes back to a default. And the default that I'm talking about has to do with that tension that surrounds the spinal cord it's called the meninges, which is the tissue that holds the brain and spinal cord in place. If you shake your head vigorously, your brain does not rattle around like a can of beans. It's held in place by this connective tissue. And any tension on that connective tissue can inform the muscles of posture what to do. So if we have a torque or an adhesion in that connective tissue, now the signal to the muscles of posture is also distorted. I like to use the example of trying to get dressed in front of a funhouse mirror. We'll wind up pulling our pants up to our chest because that's what the mirror is showing us. So the first thing that I check with every visit, it's what's the dominant
Scooter's on a roll,
distortion pattern there that day, and correcting it. And then we look at individual vertebra and take care of whatever shows up at that point. So that's really what the care is on a day-to-day basis. And over time, that distortion in the meningeal tissue releases step by step to the point that I can tell people, hey, you're done here. Please go out and do something stupid because of me. Sun just started coming into my window. Should I change my angle?
Oh, that's better. Oh, yeah. You got free light. You don't need lighting equipment. And, we're going to get some severe weather soon. I know you're a surfer, right? So I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Although if you want to get dirty looks on the A train at rush hour, try to get on with a surfboard.
I could imagine how many times he threw you back out from surfing.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're in your field, but you can't do your own adjustments, can you?
Well, certain things I can do, but in essence, the nature of my work is to only do those things the body cannot do for itself. So that means I have to see one of my colleagues, which I do once a week or so. I mean, personally, I actually have an injury that's going to be with me for my lifetime. I have a busted disc in my L5-S1 spine, and the MRI back in 1989 looks like 2 stalks of cauliflower pushing out into both sciatic nerves. And at its worst, I couldn't even stand up for more than 5 minutes. Wow. And I've never had any surgery. The only thing that I do is this care. And I engage in every sport, including bad surfing, except for martial arts, because that's where you have to take an unexpected fall in an unexpected direction. I don't think that's a smart idea for me.
No.
But I practice what I preach. Let's put it that way. Thank you for that question, though.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you have any other questions about this
Well,
idea?
well, we were talking about the stress and all, like in people's lives and what it does to your body. And we touched on this last time, but there's new listeners and the stress factor of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone has been so stressed out, let alone change of jobs, change of career, loss of life, loss of money, loss of chaos. And a
Yeah.
lot of us now, home working and sitting on that computer. And just the stress of going through something like that mentally, maybe not even physically, but mentally, it affects your body. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You could be
Right.
stressed out about something and it affects your body, right? It's all connected holistically, mind, body, and soul.
And you can't even control it with your mind. I have to
Yeah.
say, I missed our appointment last week for a very good reason. Because when I was swimming at the beach one day, somebody stole my mobile phone. And then
Oh
about
gosh, that's right. How did it go?
about a week later, I'm buying a new memory card for the new phone, and
Mm-hmm.
my business debit card gets declined for a $25 sale. I run home, find that I'm in arrears by $6,500, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh my
And I go
goodness.
to the bank, and they sure enough find this check for $11,000 that was initially written out to New York State for 150. Somebody stole it out of the mail system, whited it out, and whatever they did, they managed to go to some check cashing store, and we had to shut down the account. Well, as I'm talking about this to my friend, I notice my finger starts to go into spasm, and I can't seem to like release it with everything that I know. And then that calms down. Next thing I know, my toes start doing this, and
Oh my gosh.
there's aspects of our physiology of how our body operates that are not under our conscious control.
Yeah.
It's triggered, you know, the best thing we can do is get the reset. So I went, saw my colleagues, and I did some exercise and some breathing. And yeah, I feel like a human again. As a matter of fact, a lot of my friends can't believe that I'm going through so much stress because 3 days later, my refrigerator died on top of that.
Oh my
Uh, I've been
goodness.
looking like I've been like camping out with everything in a ice chest.
Oh gosh, amazing. Oh my
So
goodness.
again, these are things that are stresses that either, make us or break us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I tell people that, as we go through these things, we become stronger and we become more resilient. And becoming
Mm-hmm.
resilient in these tough times is really the
Ben.
goal of everything that we do. Be it, our own meditation practice or how we eat or do we exercise, and all these things are part of a continuum. And chiropractic care really lets you continue the exercise and start to recover from sitting in front of the computer, especially those of us that are sitting at our home office constantly, looking at
Totally.
this. Yeah. And oh, by the way,
Uh-oh, God.
they'll do that special cushion that changes the angle of the seat so you can
Yeah.
sit up straight. It's coming to the Islandia address, wherever that is. I think that's 631 area code. And it has instructions, but if you have any questions, I'll go over it because
Yeah.
most chairs are designed with the butt lower than the thigh.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have tight hamstrings, like most of us, when you sit down, your hips get pulled the wrong way, and then you forced into this collapsed posture. So what I do with all my patients at the beginning is go over how they're supposed to sit and then give them this special cushion that's made out of this high density foam like they use for sneakers that doesn't crush under your body weight.
Yeah.
Changes the angle of the seat. And you'll notice that when you sit up on it, you naturally sit up
Hmm.
straight. And in other words, it shouldn't be that much work. And that's because you're getting that lumbar curve. So the lumbar curve is that air in the small of your back that goes inward. And if you lose that when you sit down, you're asking for trouble long term.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. You got me thinking every time I talk to you now. I notice it too. I've been slumped over, hunching over myself. I just heard a little crack. That's the one thing that used to always scare me about chiropractors. And can you explain to people you're not cracking a bone, right? Because people hear that sound. What is that sound when you do an adjustment?
It's the same thing when you pull your fingers, you're releasing nitrogen gas from where it builds up. Whenever there's tension, in a fluid-filled system, you accumulate nitrogen gas, which is the same thing that happens when divers, when they come up too quickly, except the gas is trapped in the bloodstream, so you can create a dangerous embolism.
Yeah.
But when it's just between the joints, you hear that little noise, and that's just perfectly harmless, and it lets you know that you're going from high tension to low tension.
Yeah.
So you don't always hear that noise when I'm doing maneuvers on patients. Sometimes my patients get upset if they don't hear that noise. I said, no, so long as the test negatively, we're going to keep going on. But yeah, it just reflects how much tension has built up in that tissue and how much has been released.
Yeah.
Which is why it's always a reassuring feeling when we finally feel that, and you feel better as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we all just want to feel better. And also, speaking of you, the other notes you sent, I mean, we're talking about the stress and distress, but hold on, let me just look down 1 second here. About the seat cushion you're talking about, right? Now, you said, do you have a picture of it that I could see it? Just curious.
Well, I mean, this is in a.
Is that,
like
it looks
that?
like the car seat. Okay.
This is the one. Oh, this is the one I let my cats use as a chew toy. So
It's fine. And what is it? Is it like a cushiony like material? Just like, and it's
firm. It does not crush.
I gotta get one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on its way. So look for it. If anybody steals it, they're in trouble. No, I mailed it out yesterday.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't know that part. I saw the little handwriting. Thank you.
Well, our first talk, I said I got.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Do you, oh my God, do you have your logo like stamped on it? If not, this is you got to think about that.
I
got to start selling your own.
I just have my business card taped to the instructions. That's about it.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I didn't know that. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it because girl, 44 years of carrying around this weight. And babies.
Right? Yeah. Gosh, I'm telling you, so many pregnant women during the pandemic, because all my friends that were touring musicians that were women decided this was the time to get a baby.
Yes, yes. What else to do when you're home if you have a significant other, right?
They came in because, the last trimester of pregnancy, the body produces a hormone that lets ligaments loosen a little bit so the birth canal can open. But that also loosens all the ligaments.
Everything, right?
So anything's a little distorted and actually get more distorted, which is why chiropractic care during pregnancy really gives such a better outcome and long-term ease in the body.
Wow. So that's a great point. So while you're pregnant, and then also after, I'm sure it's important too.
Of course. Oh, the newborns, you have the phone in one hand and the baby on the hip in the other hand. And, you've got this whole S curve going on the spine. And do they switch hands? No, because, we tend to use one hand for one thing and the other for the other. And that's just what we do. We establish patterns that if we don't take steps to correct that, we get stuck.
Yeah.
So unstuck is what I do.
Beautiful. I love it, getting unstuck. All right. We still got a few minutes here, Doc, before we go. What else about you, your practice, do you want to share with us? I mean, of course, you're based in New York City, but your office is where specifically? Is it Union Square?
Union Square, actually at the corner of 18th Street and Broadway. So if I look out my window, you can see Paragon Sports. And if you're a fan of, never mind, we'll talk about that. We'll edit that out. Buckman's Sporting Goods Store.
All right.
Yeah, it's all right. Anyway.
Is it Dick's Sporting Goods Store?
No.
Oh, I was like, maybe he doesn't want to say the name.
Mad About You is the TV show, and the family owned a sporting goods place.
Oh.
Yeah, that was called Buckman's, and they used that actual store across the street from me as the set for the TV show.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Look at the history we're learning here.
Yeah. Well, Union Square's got a lot of this kind of stuff going around.
It sure does. All right. So happy you got your phone back. Happy you're getting your money situation. Your people that, no bad news. Be careful on the surfboard. Okay. Because I want to make sure you're okay after this. It'll be a storm by the time it gets to us. All right.
Right.
No mishaps. Come on, Dr. Lenny. Remind us how we can reach out to you, please.
Yes. So one more time, the phone number. 212-254-4586. Again, that's 4586. And to to go to my website, it's unionsquarespinalcare.com. There's a link at the top of the page. If you want to make an appointment, you can go right there. And if you want to send me an email, because it's the 21st century, it's Dr. Lenny R, DRLENNYR @gmail.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so
being
much.
here, for joining us,
Yeah.
and looking forward to the next time we speak. Thank you. Have a great day. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.